Hey everybody, Cinephile Mike, your friendly neighborhood cinephile is here, and this is episode 9 of Oscar Rewind, kind of rhymes, 2024 edition. My bi-weekly series of videos where I revisit some of the films of this past year's Oscar nominees and the winners. And, my hope is that you are going to rediscover an old favorite that you maybe haven't watched in a while, or maybe you'll discover a new, older favorite that you never even thought to take a look at. As always, I will be discussing the film's award season, its box office information, critical ratings, and as always, these reviews are spoiler free. So, this week is going to be a little on theme today and this Friday's movie, so we'll call it Quirky Week. First up is Fox Searchlight Pictures' Napoleon Dynamite. Released in 2004, the film was written by Jared and Jerusha Hess and directed by Jared based on his college short film, Peluca. Now, as per Box Office Mojo during the film's theatrical run, the film made the majority of its $46,138,887 box office domestically, with $44,540,956, with only $1,597,931 coming from the international box office. Not bad for a little indie film that was made for a budget of about 400,000. As per Rotten Tomatoes, this film, like a few others that I have reviewed this season on Rewind, rode a very close line, with the film having a critical rating of 72% and an audience score of 74%. Where does Cinephile Mike fall? With the audience, with the critics, somewhere else? Let's talk about it. Why does Napoleon Dynamite land on this year's Oscar Rewind season? Well, it's for filmmakers Jared and Jerusha Hess. This year, the husband and wife duo, frequent collaborators, earned their first Oscar nomination for directing 95 Senses, which was nominated for Best Animated Short at this year's Oscars. Napoleon Dynamite was the first feature film and collaboration for the two. For Jerusha, it was her first film ever. For Jared, his first feature. He had written and directed the short film which inspired this one, with some of the actors returning from that original short film. Now, Napoleon Dynamite, while it was not nominated for any Oscars, did have some other award season love. In fact, it was most successful at the MTV Movie Awards, in which it won all 3 awards that it was nominated for, which included Best Movie and 2 awards for the film's lead, John Heder, who won Best Musical Performance for his election dance and Breakthrough Male Performance in his role of Napoleon. Additionally, the film was nominated for Best Popular Movie at the Critics' Choice Awards, and it received 3 Independent Spirit Awards for Best First Feature, the Producers Award, and Best Supporting Male for John Grease in the role of Napoleon's Uncle Rico. Also, fun to note, the film was also nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Compilation Soundtrack Album for Motion Picture, Television, or Other Visual Media. Now, Napoleon Dynamite, talking about this film. Let's say he's a social outcast. Napoleon lives in a fantasy world where he loves to draw unicorns and ligers. His favorite animal, a cross between a lion and a tiger, which are mainly used as his escape to deal with the constant bullying he experiences at the hands of his fellow male peers and also some of the female peers in his school. At home, he lives with his grandmother, played by Sandy Martin, and his older brother Kip, played by Aaron Ruel, who is pretty much, if not more so, slightly more inept than Napoleon, even though he gets to spend all day chatting online with babes, trying not to make Napoleon jealous. Through chance, Napoleon gets to expand his social circle by quickly befriending new student Pedro, played by Efren Ramirez, and Deb, played by Tina Majorino, classmate who shows up on Napoleon's front one day trying to sell handmade keychains or photo ops in order to make money for college. So there seems to be a glimmer of hope for Napoleon's life to, maybe turn around a bit until Grandma has an injury in one of the film's more laugh out loud moments, and the boy's uncle Rico shows up to take care of them. Worse than the bullies at school, Rico treats Kip like a sort of equal, but treats Napoleon like a very young child. Trying to ignore his uncle, Napoleon goes on to support his new friend Pedro's bid to be student body president. Despite the competition from perennial popular girl Summer, played by Haley Duff, and also try to circumnavigate the school dance by asking Summer's friend Trisha, played by Emily Kennard, to go to the dance with him. For want of spoilers, I will leave the summary there, but we will follow Napoleon on the rest of this journey as he goes through these adventures with dealing with his uncle, his new social circle, and the various other factors that come into his life. All building to one very enjoyable moment, which Peter was recognized at the MTV Awards for, but I won't fully explain what it is. Election dance, I'll leave it there. This film, I have to say, it's one of those that sort of sneaks up on you. It seems a bit out there, and in some ways, it's almost reminiscent of some of Wes Anderson's work, where you aren't sure when you're watching it. You're like, I don't think this should work, but it does. The cast, a majority of which were in their first film or one of the earlier films in their career, are all game. They have very good chemistry. They work together and they make this story flow despite the awkwardness of the situations that they are put in. Heater, in his feature film debut, does an excellent job of creating a protagonist that is both, I hate saying it this way, but laughably pathetic and yet also incredibly sympathetic. You will find yourself many times just wanting to grab him by the shoulders and say, stop doing what you're doing, when he makes some of the decisions that he does. And I have to say, on the other side, as an antagonist, Grease's Uncle Rico he's just skin crawlingly fringy enough to make you root against him without absolutely loathing him. Because he does some pretty atrocious things. But the smart thing is that Hess gives a little bit of the backstory that you can imply to see where he's coming from and why he treats his nephews the way he does without, being too explicit. And it gives the audience something to ponder. Another pair of characters I would be remiss if I didn't reference a little bit more is the almost tonally perfect and dry energy and delivery that balance out Heater's spastic energy. This comes in the form of Majorino and Ramirez as Deb and Pedro. They're very dry throughout, not dry as in bad acting, but in the dry tone in which everything is delivered almost in a sense of, okay, sure. Even moments when I'm excited, I will stay calm. I will not move my emotional level too high. And it works as Napoleon goes to extremes. There's even one very enjoyable scene where one of the characters, I won't say who, is very upset with Napoleon for what he does, but does it in a very matter of fact and succinct way. These elements, the natural setting shot all throughout Idaho, the incredible exaggerated facial expressions and situations that these characters are put in, including a small side plot with Kip that is very enjoyable that you should check out if you haven't seen. And also layering it with the soundtrack and the score, not surprised by that Grammy nomination. Everything works to tell this small town Idaho environment in America. So, where do I fall with my ranking? I'm slightly higher than the Rotten Tomatoes scores. For me, this film is a 4 out of 5 stars, roughly, and 80%. This is a very enjoyable, quirky comedy that will present multiple laughs on more than one watch due to some of Hess's slick writing. Now, if it's been a minute since you've seen Napoleon Dynamite, or this is one of those films that you haven't seen that you've been thinking about, you can catch it streaming exclusively on Hulu. So, there you have it. We're moving right along with Oscar Rewind. Hope everyone is enjoying this series. Is there a film that you're hoping I get to? Let me know. Shoot me a comment. Reach out to me on social media. I love to engage with my followers. Maybe I'll even invite you on to review a film and talk about a film with me. Come on, it'll be great. We'll talk film. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe, like the channel, continue spreading the word. You can follow me on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd. Let's talk movies. You know you want to. Happy watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.